Hey there guys, welcome to the next tutorial here on the Duct Tape Stuff channel. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to make duct tape square petal flower rings. It's kind of a new take on how to make flowers but by using square shaped petals. And of course you can kind of use this on any kind of base that you typically use for your flowers, like a straw, pipe cleaner, a pen, depending on what you're using. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to put it on an actual ring. So I'm going to kind of show you guys how I make the ring first, and then we'll be applying all those petals onto the ring itself. So let's get started here on the tutorial. Alright, so the first thing I did was cut a strip of tape that's about 5 inches long, of course in black. I cut a small piece out of it right here, and this is going to be the entire band of my ring. I'm going to take the piece and very simply going to fold it in half, just like this. And of course you can make the ring band any size you want. Just have to double up and then just fold in half like this. And this is obviously going to be a lot longer than it needs to be. All it needs to be is really to go around whatever finger you're using it, and it probably needs to be about half an inch shorter than that. So I can kind of pinch it together and cut it to right about there. And when you pinch these two together, you should have just a little bit of extra room. So you can see exactly right below there. That's all the room I'm gonna need. So I'm gonna take this off. And then I'm simply going to take a small piece of tape and wrap it around that piece there. And that will effectively be my base for when I'm using this to put the petals on. And that's kind of one of the easiest ways to make a flower ring. So you got to make sure that it works, make sure that it fits around your finger once again. If not, you can loosen it up. And there we have it. So now let's start working on the petals. That'll go directly on that piece in the center. Alright, so to make the actual petals, I'm going to start small and then kind of work my way into larger petals as we start to build up the flower. So I have what's left of that strip that I used for making this, and I'm going to cut it so that there's about an inch strip here, an inch tall, and then still about 5 inches wide, which is what I used before. And then I'm going to cut each piece to be about an inch big. So we have at least, I can probably get 3 out of this piece here. And this piece will just be extra. Then I'm going to take a whole bunch of these and I'm going to fold them together like this, leaving a little bit of the sticky portion open on the end there. So you can see a little bit of the sticky part. And of course there's really no major folding here like we typically do with our kind of triangle sized petals. These are kind of really just simple, just square petals, or I guess more rectangle, but I can trim those down a little bit. So these are probably looking a little more rectangle, so maybe you want to go to about maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe a little less than that. And then I'm going to trim to that, and then I'm going to use these to stick onto the main piece. So this is just 3, but I'm going to use a few more than this, probably at least 6 or 7 before I graduate to a slightly bigger petal as I start to wrap these around here. So this part is actually really simple. You just want to kind of line it up with the top there, and of course use as much of that sticky portion as you can. That's why you want to leave a decent amount there. Once you get one piece stuck on, you can kind of take your next piece and then kind of, with these, at this point you can kind of go with the opposite side and kind of just keep wrapping it around until you get a decent amount that will stick down. If you're having a lot of trouble, like it really doesn't want to stick down, you can take another small strip and kind of wrap around the base whenever you get a whole bunch stuck on there, and I'll kind of reinforce it as you keep applying these pieces all the way around. So that's my third one. You can see we got a little bit of a flower bud in there. Definitely looks a lot different than the traditional, triangle petals that we typically make. And now I'm going to graduate to a slightly bigger size, so I'm going to cut a few more strips and then keep sticking those on there. So using the same method, I made a slightly bigger pieces here, except these are gold, of course. I'm kind of going to go back and forth between gold and black. I think that'd be a good color contrast. So make sure those are all stuck on, and I'm going to take my 3 here. And once we get towards the end here, after we apply definitely a few more tiers of petals, we're going to kind of fold all these down a little bit. So it would probably definitely help if you kind of wrapped a little piece around every now and then to kind of reinforce it once we get to that portion. So I just did a black and then a gold, so I'll probably go with another black with the same size as the gold ones here, and then I'll move on to a slightly bigger petal for the next 2 sets. So I'm just going to kind of just keep building up this flower using those exact same method of making the petals, and then kind of reinforcing it every now and then. Now once you get to a point where you want to start, completing the flower, which I'm going to do here, so you kind of got, black, gold, you're going to take another support piece, depending on what color you're at, you want to match it with that color, of course, and then with that support piece on the bottom, you should be able to kind of peel these petals down a little bit. And since these petals are shaped a lot differently than the flower ones, they're going to be able to fold flat a lot easier. And because they have like a giant flat texture to them, unlike the traditional flower ones or triangle ones that we typically see. So whenever you kind of peel these down, you can kind of use your hobby knife to get the inner ones. So we got, the next section would be the black one. So I'm going to peel those down a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of the adhesive. You want to make sure that just continues to be stuck on. What's preventing that from kind of peeling up is the fact that you used those, those reinforcing pieces that wrapped around every, tier that you worked on. So just very carefully use your hobby knife to keep peeling these pieces down, kind of flattening them out a little bit, giving them a little bit of character and a little bit, just making it look nice. And then once you get to that point, you can start to really flesh out the flower, make it look nice. As long as it actually helps, if you want to, you can kind of bend the petals all the way down to touch the base of the flower, and then work your way up from there to kind of give the top petals enough room to be able to be pushed down and stuff like that. But that's exactly what the flower looks like. It's a very symmetrical looking flower. It almost kind of looks like, depending on how you apply the strips, it has a whole bunch of different circular patterns in it. And then of course you see the points actually sticking out, and then kind of there's like a large kind of curvy angle on each one, because that's how the flat piece, when you applying that piece on, that's how it gets stuck on there. So it's kind of like a giant flat edge and then points on either side. So it's kind of a very different way of making the flower. Of course you can kind of just slip it on any finger you want to. I use my middle finger for that one, but if you're ever applying this on here and it kind of tightens it up, all you have to do is, you don't have to rip the flower off or anything. You just take a pair of scissors, cut it right in the center, expand it a little bit, and then take a little piece of tape and then attach it on whatever the new thickness is, because sometimes when you attach it onto the base, it kind of just pinches the ring band a little bit, and you can't really get it on after that. But you can just take a pair of scissors, extend the band a little bit, and you won't have any trouble with that. So that's how to make a duct tape square flower petal. Square petal flower, I guess you want to call it. So it's kind of unusual to make. It's definitely something pretty cool. You can definitely tinker around and experiment with this. Depending if you want how big you want to make it, you want to start a little bit smaller and then work your way down from there. I made the stem really tiny, so if you make it a little bit longer, you can definitely expand the flower and make it kind of, when you get to about 2 or 3 inches, and you can kind of keep wrapping it around to make the flower as large as you want it. So hope you guys liked the tutorial. That kind of concludes this video on making the square petal flower ring, and hope you guys liked the video. Like I said, I'll catch you next time on the channel for more videos coming soon.